Making choices with wisdom. Hello everyone, and thank you for being here today. Every day, from the moment we wake up, we face choices. Some choices are small, like what to eat for breakfast, and some are big, like choosing a career or a life partner. Have you ever wondered how to make the best choice when it really matters? Today, I want to talk about how we can make choices with wisdom. This means using calm thinking, experience, and good judgment to guide us. In this speech, I will share some simple ideas and stories, both from my own life and from ancient wisdom, about how we can make wiser decisions. My hope is that you will feel inspired to reflect on your own choices and see how a little more wisdom can make a big difference in your life. The power of everyday choices. Our life is shaped by the choices we make every single day. It's easy to think that only big decisions matter, but small choices add up over time. For example, choosing to read a book in the evening instead of scrolling through social media might seem minor, but over a year, that choice could turn into a lot of new knowledge or a new habit of learning. On the other hand, repeatedly choosing to put off important tasks might lead to stress later. What small choices did you make today without even thinking? We often go through our routines on autopilot, but when we become aware of our choices, we gain power over our lives. Every decision, big or small, is like a brick we lay on the path of our life. If we lay our bricks carelessly, we might end up with a shaky road. But if we place each brick with care and purpose, we build a strong and steady path. This doesn't mean we should overthink everything, but it does mean we should recognize the impact of our everyday choices. When you decide to be kind to a stranger, or to save a little money instead of spending it, those are wise choices building a better future, bit by bit. Pause and reflect before deciding. One of the simplest ways to make wiser choices is to pause and reflect before you decide, especially on important matters. In our fast-paced world, we often feel pressure to decide quickly. However, acting in haste can lead to regret. Have you ever sent a message or said something in the heat of the moment and later wished you had waited? I know I have. A short pause, even just taking a deep breath, can prevent a lot of mistakes. When we pause, we give ourselves a chance to think clearly. We let our initial emotions settle so that our calm mind can take over. There's an old piece of wisdom. When anger rises, think of the consequences. These are words said to come from Confucius, an ancient Chinese teacher. They remind us that when we feel strong emotion, it's wise to stop and consider what might happen next. If you're angry or upset, that is the perfect time to pause. Take a moment, count to 10, or even sleep on the decision if you can. By morning, you might see things differently. Let me share a quick personal story. A few years ago, I received an email that made me very angry. A colleague had blamed me for a mistake at work. I was upset, and I almost replied immediately with a sharp message to defend myself. But just before I hit send, I remembered to pause. I took a walk to calm down. After some reflection, I realized a harsh reply would only make the conflict bigger. I chose to respond the next day, once I was calm, and I kept my tone polite but firm. To my surprise, my colleague apologized for the misunderstanding. By pausing and reflecting instead of reacting in anger, I not only avoided a big argument, but I also earned respect. This experience taught me that taking a moment to think can completely change the outcome of a situation. Learning from wise people and past experiences. Another way to make choices with wisdom is to learn from others who have wisdom, and to reflect on our own past experiences. We are not the first to seek wisdom. People have been thinking about good decisions for thousands of years. Ancient philosophers and teachers like Socrates, Confucius, and Marcus Aurelius all dealt with choices and challenges in life, just like we do. We can draw lessons from their experiences and writings in a simple way. For example, Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor almost 2,000 years ago, and he is remembered for being wise and calm. He kept a journal, which we now call meditations, to remind himself how to live well and choose wisely. In one of his notes he wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Think about that simple advice for a moment. If something doesn't feel morally right, perhaps that's a sign not to choose that path. Marcus Aurelius used his sense of right and wrong as a guide for making decisions, even though he had great power. If a mighty emperor needed to check himself and make sure his choices were right and true, we too can follow that rule in our daily lives. We can also learn from the people around us, elders, mentors, or friends. Do you know someone in your life who always seems to make good choices? Someone who stays calm in tough times or has a lot of life experience? You can learn from them by asking for advice or simply observing how they handle decisions. Sometimes just hearing a friend say, "I've been through something similar, and here's what I learned," can give us a new perspective and help us avoid mistakes. Finally, our own past experiences are great teachers. Think about a choice you made in the past that you regret. We all have at least one. It might hurt to recall it, but hidden in that mistake is a lesson. Maybe you trusted someone who wasn't trustworthy, or you rushed into a decision without doing enough research. Rather than only feeling bad about it, ask yourself, why did I make that choice, and what would I do differently now? By doing this, you turn a past mistake into wisdom for the future. Each lesson we learn makes us wiser and helps guide us when a similar situation comes again. Trust your values and inner wisdom. While it's important to learn from others, we must also listen to our own inner wisdom. What does that mean? It means understanding our values, the principles that are most important to us, and letting them guide our choices. Wise decisions often come from staying true to what we deeply believe is right. Consider this. If you value honesty, a wise choice would be to tell the truth even when a lie might be easier. If you value kindness, a wise choice might be to forgive someone instead of holding a grudge. Our values act like a compass, pointing us in the right direction when we are unsure. What do you care about most in life? When you know the answer, you can check your choices against those values. I'd like to share another personal story. A few years ago, I had to choose between two job offers. One job offered a higher salary, but I knew it would require me to work very long hours and I'd have little time for my family. The other job paid less, but it was with a company whose mission I believed in, and it offered a better work-life balance. I was tempted to take the higher-paying job for the money and because it was at a well-known company. Many people told me that I would be crazy to turn it down. So, what did I do? I paused and thought about what I truly value. I wrote down a list of what mattered to me: family, health, personal growth, and doing work I could be proud of. When I looked at that list, the decision became clear. I chose the job that fit my values, even though it paid less. And you know what? I never regretted it. That job allowed me to spend evenings with my family, stay healthy, and feel proud of the work I was doing. This experience taught me that a wise choice is one that aligns with your values and the kind of life you want. Listening to your inner wisdom also means trusting your intuition at times. If a choice feels deeply wrong in your gut, it's worth exploring why. Sometimes a part of us senses something is wrong, even if we haven't said it out loud yet. Taking a quiet moment to listen to that inner voice can be very powerful. Of course, this doesn't mean ignoring facts or logic. Wisdom is a balance of head and heart. But when both your logic and your intuition agree, you often know you've found a wise direction. Conclusion. In the end, making choices with wisdom is about being thoughtful and true to yourself. It's about slowing down when needed, learning from wise examples, and following your values. Remember that every choice counts, and each one is an opportunity to steer your life toward a better path. Let's quickly recap the key ideas. Pause before making big decisions. Give yourself time to think and let your calm mind guide you. Learn from others and your past. Seek advice. Read wise words, and turn mistakes into lessons. Stay true to your values. Let your principles and what matters most to you direct your path. I encourage you to reflect on your own life. Is there an important decision you are facing right now? Pause. Perhaps it's a career move, a relationship choice, or a personal habit you want to change. Take a moment tonight or this week to really think it through. Maybe write about it, like Marcus Aurelius did, or discuss it with someone you trust. Consider your options and ask yourself, which choice is the wise one for me? Remember, wisdom is not something only found in old books or with famous philosophers. You have wisdom within you, and you can grow it with practice. Every time you make a thoughtful choice, you strengthen your ability to make the next one even better.